Okay, I just engaged FSD Beta on our way to Starbucks through industrial region in southern Ontario. So the first turn up here is a left onto a double-decker highway. And the upper deck is named Nikola Tesla Blvd. Fairly heavy lunch hour traffic this time.
Now turn left onto Burlington Street East.
Okay, let's go. Oh, we got a yellow. And we got a red. Okay, so that's fair. We did stop back at the painted line because these trucks need quite a turn radius to come in. So good decision. I've seen human drivers in a situation like that creep up on the yellow and stop much too close past this line, which is painted quite far back, and then the trucks can't make it around them. So bonus points for FSD Beta making this call to stop back here. Now most people would creep forward a bit from here. FSD Beta is not. I'm just going to let it go. It should go after this truck. Okay, good. Let's go. I'm just going to nudge it because just to tell it is safe to go. So I did one small intervention there. It may have waited longer, and I did have people waiting behind me, so I thought, let's get around the corner. It was safe to do so. So an FSD Beta tends to be quite conservative. Okay, so now we've switched from FSD Beta to the normal FSD Beta that anyone who's paid for the FSD package can get, because we're on a highway on the upper deck, Nikola Tesla Blvd. And you can tell because you don't see the red lines and it's not in the beta mode right now. So we will switch back to beta when we get onto city streets on our way to Starbucks. Likely beta would have made it around that corner without the nudge, but being overly cautious and with folks waiting behind me, I decided to tell it it's okay to go with the accelerator. These power lines here coming in from Niagara Falls from Nikola Tesla's AC generating station, bringing power all the way back to Hamilton along this corridor. And now the street is named rather appropriately, Nikola Tesla Blvd. Powering the industrial area of Ontario. Behind a bit of a slower truck on our ramp. So we are now transitioning on to the Queenie, where we have to stay just briefly until we get off onto the city streets.
Meters, take exit 88 on the right onto Centennial Parkway.
Still on traditional FSD, not the beta, and you'll see it switch back to the beta as soon as we
take exit 88 on the right.
As soon as we get off here. You'll see the transition to the red lines right there. So now we're in FSD Beta, city streets.
In 300 meters, turn right onto Centennial Parkway North.
Okay, so we've got to get into this rightmost turn lane. Good. FSD Beta got in there.
Now turn right onto Centennial Parkway North.
I have to take a right and emerge onto the city street here. Good, nobody's coming. We can merge on. We have our own little lane anyway. And now we're going to have to get over one. And FSD Beta did that nicely. Okay. And about 1.5 kilometers up ahead, we are going to have to get over 2 lanes, 1 lane and then another lane into our turn lane. And the traffic is fairly heavy, so we'll see how Beta handles that. There would be a gap now because of a slower truck behind us, but I do have the settings in a medium, not assertive, so it may tend to want to stay in the slower lane or the rightmost lane longer. We'll see. Beta slowing down a bit. I can feel that a little bit when the cars are turning out in front. Probably isn't very noticeable from behind. It's only a few kilometers an hour difference. Meters, and we are going to have to get over left soon. Okay, it's a good opportunity. We have a wide gap, and Beta has made it over 1 lane, and then there'll still be a left turn lane that we'll have to get into. Okay, and we're stopped at the red light. In 400 meters, we've got to make a left-hand turn. So we're going to have to get into the left turn lane, get over, and then merge over to the rightmost lane on the other street to make our turn into the plaza to our Starbucks destination. It is a hot one today, 38 degrees outside, without the humidity effect. Okay, green light, car head is moving. Beta has started to cross the intersection. Traffic has thinned out a little bit here.
In 200 meters, turn left onto Queenston Road.
Now Beta has to wait until it gets past the concrete median before it makes its turn. And it took that just beautifully.
Now turn left onto Queenston Road.
Okay, we have a red. And there should be an advanced left green here. It is a short one at this particular intersection, but there's just one car ahead of me. So hopefully we get through on the advanced green. Otherwise, Beta would have to wait for oncoming traffic. There's a fair bit here, and it is cautious and busy, and those are the turns that Beta would have the most challenge with, is an unprotected left with cross traffic, with traffic coming forward, and making the right call for the right gap. Okay, Beta's taking it through. We have an advanced green. It makes it easy for Beta. It's got to navigate this concrete divider, which it did nicely. Excellent. So yeah, the advanced green definitely helps. In other cases, it it's still learning to get the right gaps all the time, or ones that I would be comfortable with. And then that, of course, I want to balance with if people are waiting behind me too. It can tend to sometimes be overly cautious, or sometimes just go for it, and that's what this is about. It's a beta. We're training it. Just a reminder, FSD Beta does not make the car fully autonomous. I am able to take over and ready to take over at any time through the steering wheel, brakes, accelerator, to correct for any potential mistakes that it could make. Those interventions and disengagements do go back to Tesla to train the neural nets to make it better and better on subsequent downloads of the neural net coefficients. The idea being that eventually it will hopefully get up to human level and surpass human level driving capability at one point. Okay, at 170 meters, we have a right turn into our destination. So I'm going to let it make this right turn, and then I'll disengage. Okay, Beta did well, disengaged, and I've taken over because, yeah, the parking lot driving has not been harmonized into the stack yet, so I will drive inside parking lots. All right, here we are. I guess I'm going to cut it there. For now, no reason to have the video just pick up a drink here. Okay, let's see if we can find a recognized parking space. There's one. Shift to reverse and start. Let's let an auto park occur. It works with just the painted lines now. Earlier versions worked with ultrasonics and needed cars parked there, but this one works on a vision basis. So there we are, nicely auto parked. Okay, let's punch up our destination to go back. Fingers are wet from the mug. It's very hot today. Okay. Beta usually takes a different way back. It's, I guess, a little faster. It goes the service road back to the Queenie, and then merges onto Nikola Tesla Blvd back. So let's try it, see how it goes. I'm going to drive it again back out of the parking lot. And then re-engage once we're out of the lot. A lot of traffic here. Truck doing something. Okay. It's clear. I'm gonna get into the exit lane from this plaza and I will engage FSD Beta right here. So I can't turn right on a red if there's no traffic, well, but we just got a green and no pedestrians, so we can go. Okay, Beta's going to have to make it over 2 lanes fairly quickly
200 meters,
to get into this
left onto Gray Road.
left turn lane here. Okay, good.
Now turn left onto Gray Road.
We've got a green. It's not in advance, so I'm going to watch it. This is a scenario now, the most difficult turns for Beta. It will have to wait for traffic. Well, it's got a lead car, which helps. And there we go. Okay, well, it took the outermost lane, but it did make the turn successfully. And sometimes the path planner will take the innermost lane. Like it's not like a predetermined thing. The AI is picking a different. The path planner will sometimes pick the inner lane, sometimes pick the outer lane. You know, depending on who knows what. I mean, it does want to eventually tend to want to go into the right lane in the medium setting that I have the assertiveness set to. And maybe with the other car parked there, it already tended to, to take a bit wider turn and then just decided it was clear and go right over to this right lane. Other times, maybe if there's no car there, it'll take the inner lane and then do a lane changeover later. Slightly different inputs cause the neural net to make different decisions as a product of its environment. Again, the FSD Beta now is completely vision based, so when we're stopping for cars ahead of us, it is not using the radar. This car does have a radar, but the new software is not using it anymore. It's using Tesla Vision. Okay, the car was a bit slow. It was going to go around, but I decided not to once they turned. There is a left turn end sign up ahead. I'm gonna signal to tell it to go over to the left lane because the right lane exits. It's not reading that sign currently. This arrow sign, I'm not sure it's reading that. It does see painted arrows on the pavement, but they've worn off. And I just know that it would have waited until, from experience, the last moment to move over. So I gave it some input to move it over there. I'll touch the button and send that up to Tesla as well.
Now turn right onto Francis Avenue.
Okay. It is taking this turn very slowly. slower than I would.
Now
Not
turn right
not
onto
that it's
Greystone.
incorrect, but it is a bit slow. Another one. A little bit slower than I would have done it.
Now turn right onto North Service Road.
It is stopping really far back for this stop sign. Creeping forward now. Okay, it's clear, we can go. Good. It's those little idiosyncrasies that it's sometimes people behind FSD Beta, because it's drives like a new learning driver. It's very cautious and slow around turns. It can tend to annoy some drivers, but other drivers don't care. It's probably 10% it might annoy. That's the other thing to be cognizant of, that it's also trying to give me as the human driver enough time to double check what it's doing and intervene if necessary. So, better safe than sorry, but there sometimes are drivers that are more aggressive and tend to be annoyed by that. You just have to watch for that if you've got someone who's tailgating or whatever, just maybe take over. I tend to take over as a courtesy, and if someone's not able to have the patience for it. But I suspect in time it will learn and get increasingly faster as it gets more confident. Okay, so now we've got to make a left here. And we do have to wait for oncoming traffic. So it's got a green, but we got to stop this guy. We can go because we have the right of way. It's not, I'm going to nudge it because there, now it's going. It tends to wait for these other cars, even though they have the yield, and out of an abundance of caution. I would have let it wait, but because we've got someone behind me, I just gave it a tap on the accelerator to say, you can go there in that scenario. Okay, slowing down for this guy to let him in. So we merged back onto the Queenie. It's out of FSD Beta and on traditional navigate on autopilot now for FSD. Okay, it is deciding to. I thought for a moment it might take the leftmost lane, but it hasn't. It's decided to just stay in this leftmost lane. Got some slower traffic ahead of us. Normally Beta would come through here quicker, but that's okay. Okay. It is leaving a large gap, speeding up. It's going to get over. I guess there's traffic behind me. Maybe it's going to let people pass. Not sure, or maybe it just wants to prepare itself to go around the slower traffic that's actually on the left this time.
In 300 meters, keep left to stay on Nikola Tesla Blvd.
I know for Europe, if there's European viewers, passing on the right is a no-no, but it's very common in North America. Now I'm on traditional navigate on autopilot, which does give you a fair amount of freedom for setting your set speed. Beta tends to read the signs more, set it more often, so whereas Navigate on autopilot lets you dial in your preferred speed.
In 2 kilometers, turn right onto Ottawa Street North.
Okay, back on Nikola Tesla Boulevard. Gotta complete this trip along the upper deck here. The view of all the industrial facilities here, and then we're gonna have to eventually make our way over a couple of lanes and make a right turn back into our destination at the end of this. So quite a mix on this drive, on-ramp to off-ramp, lane changes, city street driving, you know, getting into middle turn lanes, that sort of thing. You know, it handled it fairly well, this drive. There's other drives, depending on the scenario and the traffic levels, where it's not, won't always be perfect, but that's the whole point of the beta, where we're giving it input and it's learning and training off of that. Or it may be successful, but as a courtesy to other drivers, it may do things slower and more cautiously than is vastly typical. And that's actually a lot of the interventions as well, just to, as a courtesy to drivers when it's being overly cautious. And then other times, you know, it may still make an error and you have to be prepared to intervene. Okay, we have a truck coming up in the absolute rightmost lane. So we're getting over, that's fine. If Beta speeds up, it can get over in front of this truck, which it is doing. And we've got enough gap. And we're signaling to get over, we're fine. All good, and we've made the final turn in.